Today, I'm here to talk about why your relationship is probably doing better than you think. I've worked with couples for a decade, and again, I've seen the same thing. People come in worried something's wrong because they're not swept up in passion or because things feel calm instead of intense. But the truth is, they're doing far better than they think, and you probably are too. They've moved past the need to perform love. What they've built is something steadier, grounded in presence, not in spectacle. Here's something funny. We host a relationship satisfaction scale on our website, and almost 9,000 people have already taken it by this point. And you know what the average score is? A 56 out of a 100. And that's actually not bad. This is a research-backed instrument, so this score means something. The link for the test is in the description. You can take it anytime you like, and it's completely free of charge. And I can almost promise you that you'll be pleasantly surprised by your results. I'm Jordan Travers. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, and today I'm discussing 3 signs of what healthy love looks like, because the signs are smaller and quieter than you might expect. Sign number 1, you repair in real time. When conflict hits, most couples think the solution lies in what they say at the end. The reconciliation, the apology, the tidy conclusion after everything's been said. But research says otherwise. A team of researchers led by world-renowned relationship expert Dr. John Gottman went straight to the source. They observed real-time arguments between newlyweds. Not recaps, not predictions, just the raw moments themselves. And what they found was striking. The most effective repair attempts didn't come after the storm. They actually came before it could fully begin. They called these preemptive repairs, subtle, emotionally attuned gestures in the first few minutes of tension that shifted the entire tone of the conversation. A glance, a softened voice, a tiny joke, a gesture that said, "We're not enemies here." And no, these weren't solutions, but they were signals of connection in the face of disconnection. Not let's solve this, but let's stay close even through this. And the sooner they came, the earlier the couple bounced back. Repairs made later, mid-argument, were hit or miss. And those offered only at the end, often too late to undo the rupture. There was one more insight worth mentioning. Repairs worked better when they came from the couples with strong friendship beneath the tension. A sense of understanding that made even the smallest repair feel sincere. Because when trust exists, subtle gestures speak volumes. So if you want to fight better, don't wait to be calm. Don't wait to be right. Soften early and stay human. Protect the emotional thread before it snaps. Sign number 2, you practice parallel play. Not all connection is active. In some of the healthiest relationships, intimacy looks like this. You're reading and they're writing. You're chopping vegetables and they're folding laundry. No words, no pressure, just a quiet rhythm. This is what therapists call parallel play, a concept borrowed from early childhood development, where children play side by side without interacting directly. But in adult relationships, it takes on a deeper meaning. It's a sign of emotional maturity, of comfort, of 2 people who know how to be together without needing to merge. Parallel play says, I can be me while you are you, and we can still feel close. And research backs it up. A 2024 study on romantic silence in relationships found that when silence is intrinsically motivated, meaning that it comes from closeness and not out of fear, it leads to greater emotional well-being, need satisfaction, and connection. But parallel play is more than just silence. It's shared space with separate focus. It's the quiet knowing that presence matters more than performance. And that's what sets it apart from disconnection. Because not all silence is healing. When it's driven by guilt, people-pleasing, or fear of rupture, what psychologists call introjected silence, it can leave partners feeling distant even when they're in the same room. The difference is subtle but powerful. Parallel play feels like peace. Introjected silence feels like tension. So if you and your partner can spend an hour doing your own thing in the same room and still feel close when you look up, that's not distance, that's trust. And that's a relationship with room for two whole people. Sign number 3, you tell the story of us. Every couple has a story, but not every couple tells it in the same way. In a 2016 study, researchers asked happy couples to share one story from their relationship. No prompts, no guidelines, just whatever memory felt meaningful. They weren't just collecting love stories, they were listening for we-ness, the subtle thread of shared identity. The sense that a couple doesn't just live side by side, they live inside the same emotional world. Here's what that can look like. One partner says, "Remember that awful apartment with the broken heater?" And the other immediately smiles and says, "And the $12 bottle of wine we drank under 3 blankets?" They're not just remembering the same event, they're feeling the same thing. Comfort, closeness, warmth, and just being together. That we-ness. And what researchers found was striking. The strongest stories weren't about perfection. It was, we had each other's backs. We got through that together. Or that moment tested us, but we stayed close. The next most common theme, pleasure. Not just loving each other, but actually liking each other. Laughter, joy, the kind of easy companionship that doesn't need translating. And third, shared meaning. These couples weren't just surviving, they were building something. A life, a family, a purpose that stretched beyond the present moment. And the more of these themes a couple included, security, pleasure, meaning, the more emotionally in sync they were. Not just an I love you, but we feel the same way about us. When those stories didn't align, when one partner's version felt flat or distant, the other's was rich with connection. That mismatch said more than any survey ever could. So if you want to know how strong your relationship really is, don't just ask how it feels today. Ask how you both remember the past. Because the story you tell together reveals the future you're quietly writing. Why don't you take a moment and share your story in the comments? See how it makes you feel and think about the details you remember and check, does it make you smile? And if it does, drop us a like. We make love complicated. We read too much into conflict and not enough into quiet. But healthy relationships don't always look like grand gestures or perfect communication. They look like soft repairs, shared silence, and a story you both still believe in. So if you recognize these signs in your relationship, don't brush them off. They're not small. They're actually everything. And if you don't see them yet, that doesn't mean it's broken. It just means it's time to build something steadier. I'm Jordan Travers. I'm the clinical director at Awake Therapy. And if you want guidance building the kind of relationship that actually feels safe, you can find my booking link in the description below. Until next time, bye.